everybody, this is Andrew from TS for Tech, and in today's video I'm taking a look at another laptop from BHWW. So BHWW, and this is their BaseBook Pro laptop. I don't know if you've watched a channel before, but I did do a video about their other entry-level laptop, the BaseBook, which is a 15.6-inch screen and an Intel lower-end Celeron processor. And basically the BaseBook Pro, slightly bigger. This is a 16.1-inch laptop, and it does feature a little bit of a higher spec Intel chip. So this one has an Intel Core i5-1035G7 processor. So that's up to 3.7 gigahertz of speed. Has 4 cores, 8 threads, Intel Iris Plus graphics, 6 megabytes of smart cache. It has a 1920 by 1200 full HD IPS display with a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. So like I said, BaseBook Pro, 16.1 inch. This is space gray, 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of disk space. So, and that's a PCIe SSD, so it should be pretty fast as well. So like my other laptop reviews, right now I'm just gonna go ahead and unbox this. We'll take a look at the laptop, see what you get in the package, and then I'll do some benchmark tests. And I will be interested to see how this one performs because it is a little bit more of a high-end CPU. Not high-end, but you know, definitely more performant than the N95 or the Celeron kind of range of processors. So if we look at what we get in here, we do have a laptop charging brick, cable, and with the other one as well, the other BaseBook, they do give you a mouse, which is again something that not very often you'll find with laptops, and you typically don't get a mouse included. And this is just a basic optical mouse, BHWW 2.4 gigahertz wireless. So you do need the little dongle here, right? So plug this into your computer, turn it on, takes a AA battery, and you have a mouse. So I think that's pretty nice. And for what you get in the box, I mean, that's basically it. There is a little bit of a user manual here at the top. Some other information, warranty card, support card, etc. But yeah, so you have that. And it just slips right in there. So, you know, basic packaging. Now, obviously, if you're looking at this and you're like, wow, that looks like MacBook, right? Like, yeah, I mean, this does kind of look like Apple packaging, you know, in a way, right? So BaseBook Pro, kind of like MacBook Pro. So yeah, I mean, it looks like a Apple MacBook box. So as you can see here, now I think in this one, it feels like the top material is metal. The other one was plastic. Now, I mean, yeah, it feels like it's like an aluminum cover on the top, at least, or at least a skin of aluminum on the top. It still has some flex, but not as much as the other one. The rest of the laptop does look to be plastic, similar to the BaseBook. You know, this is the BaseBook Pro. Screen is a little bit bigger. Actually, screen is actually a really nice size. But, you know, very similar to the other laptop from a just look and feel perspective. You have your power adapter there. You got a USB-C, HDMI, USB 3, Kensington lock, micro SD card, a couple more USBs. You got your Ethernet port, headphone jack. If you're looking at the bottom, you have your downward facing speakers on either side. You've got a vent up there. You've got big rubber foot across the top and a couple rubber feet at the bottom. But overall, it's not too heavy, even though it is a bigger laptop. They do kind of maintain a pretty slim profile there. Got your BHWW logo there. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a nice looking laptop. So up at the top, you do have, as you can see, a webcam that has a built-in privacy filter, so you can open and close that if you don't want to, if you want to kind of block your webcam, which is nice. I will go ahead and peel this off. There is a screen protector. So the screen is not super glossy. It's kind of like a matte screen. And as you can see there, BaseBook Pro. Screen looks nice. Keyboard looks nice. Very similar to the other keyboards. Got this chiclet type keys. Obviously kind of looks like a Mac as well. You can see here there's these like screen printed. It's like these screen printed dots here to kind of represent speakers. But in this one, there are some speaker holes at the bottom. On the other one, it looked like speaker holes, but there weren't any speaker holes. So you can see them right here on the bottom of each side. So we'll see if that sounds any better. But it also has the downward facing ones. Trackpad on this one feels a little nicer than the trackpad on the other one. It has a built-in fingerprint sensor as well, so you can do, fingerprint unlock and that sort of thing. Full-size keyboard with a number pad, arrows over here, just kind of cool. Does have the split enter pipe / key, so they use this probably the same top case for international versions that have that kind of L-shaped enter key. But yeah, I mean, overall, very, very nice feeling laptop. And nice looking, right? So, if I had this, I wouldn't feel like, oh, I've got some super cheap looking laptop. It looks really nice. If anyone saw this, they'd probably be like, oh, that's an attractive laptop. So I'm going to go ahead and boot this up. We'll run some various benchmarking and all of that, and kind of see how it compares to the original BaseBook, the kind of the base version of the BaseBook. And I'll maybe throw some comparisons on the screen. I'll also talk through some of the more detailed specs. Like I said, this one does have 32 gigs DDR4 memory, has a 1 terabyte PCIe SSD. So, we'll do a disk mark test and all of that, kind of see what the speed is like. Now, this one over the other will probably have a better chance at playing some games, right? The other one was very much targeted more towards students, kind of general business applications, things like that, where you're not kind of pressing the CPU a lot. This one should have a little bit more headroom just because it is an Intel i5. It's core processor, like I said, 4 cores, 8 threads. Some upgraded components as it compares to the other one. So I'm going to go ahead, jump over, set this thing up, and we'll hop on over and start looking at some of the benchmark tests. So as you can see here, I did run a Crystal disk mark test, and this is a PCIe SSD, and it scored pretty well on the reads and writes. The second test I did, I went and ran a Geekbench, the GPU and the CPU tests, and you can see on the next screen here, I get 1621 and 4211 for the single core, multi-core CPU tests, which I think is pretty decent for this chip in this computer. And then for the graphics, I got a 6897. So this should be able to play some, basic games, things like that. Probably nothing like super high resolution or fast frame rates, but general casual gaming I think will work well in this laptop. I also ran a pass mark test, and as you see here, I get a 2707 overall, which puts it around 31st percentile. For that, CPU mark 7588, a 2D mark 322, 3D mark 1871, memory mark, like I said, 2944. Again, scoring higher. It does have pretty fast access to the memory and fast disk access. So overall, this is a pretty decently performing laptop, all things considered, for a broad range of tasks. Now here, I just created a document from a Word template and just wanted to kind of test out the typing on the keyboard and see how responsive it was, if I had any issues, with the keyboard or anything like that. So I'll just, once I got my office activated, I just kind of was typing here and you'll just see. Overall, I did like the feel of the keyboard. Uh, no issues really at all, other than it is a little bit, yeah, you always have to get used to a new keyboard, obviously. And as you get used to it, you can type faster without mistakes, but is very responsive. The key action was good, and I didn't really have any issues. So overall, I do like this keyboard and the responsiveness of it. I also opened PowerPoint just so I can see, kind of what that acts like, created from a template as well. And as you can see, we can edit, obviously, the PowerPoint. And then what I'll do here is I just kind of flip it into presentation mode or kind of run through all the slides. And you can see it's pretty responsive, pretty quick, switching from slide to slide, no delays at all. So from that perspective, business tasks, everything, I think this would do pretty good. I didn't record it, but I was also using Excel a little bit earlier too. And yeah, overall, very responsive with just general office related programs and tasks. And then here I just jumped into Task Manager really quick, and you can see, right, 4.8 out of 32 gigs of memory used. CPU is kind of low usage, and I had the screen recording on as well, and that usually eats up some CPU. And overall, just not really pressed at all for any of the things that I did on this machine. It has a lot of overhead from a compute perspective, and overall, yeah, really nice. And here I'm just kind of playing back a video stream via YouTube full screen in 1080p just to see if there was any hiccups on the streaming, and it was fine. Hey everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech. And in today's video, if you can't already tell, I'm taking a look at a lightsaber from Art Sabers. If you are in the market for this sort of thing, I'm sure some of the other types as well. Yeah. Yeah, and this is basically the whole thing. Table. So what I'm a tutorial video on how to use it. So overall, you can see that it was not stuttering or anything on the playback. Here I'm just loading this Big Farm mobile harvest game just to see some of this gameplay. This is more 2D gameplay, not 3D or anything like that, and this worked fine as well. No issues. I also just installed and ran Roblox here, and I'm not at all a Roblox player. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I just wanted to show that, what it looks like in kind of like a 3D world. I'm totally stuck here. I couldn't get out the window. But as you can see, these types of 3D games, Minecraft, Roblox, not a problem at all. This can certainly handle it without any any issues or frame skipping or anything like that. You will probably have a little bit more of a problem if you try to go into something like Grand Theft Auto, Fortnite, those sorts of things. You might have to really tone down the graphics in order to get some performance because it is the Intel Iris integrated GPU, but this does have pretty good CPU power for an i5 mobile processor. Hey everybody, this is Andrew from TS for Tech. I'm just testing out the sound and the video on this BaseBook Pro laptop. Now this is using the built-in camera, obviously, and I mentioned when I did the unboxing, this does have a built-in privacy shutter, so I just shut it
and I opened it right back up. So that's nice if you want to just kind of not be on camera. You don't have to have some external thing covering it up. You can just use that. So overall, I mean, I'm in a basement now in my studio area, and I just have some overhead incandescent lights, and it looks pretty good on here. Now, I think this looks a little bit better than the base book that I reviewed about a month ago or so. If I recall that camera, it seemed like it might have been a little bit more washed out or just noisy in this light. So this one actually looks a little bit better. So I'm not sure if the difference of the cameras between the two, but this one definitely does look better. And there's a little less lag from when I'm talking and what I'm seeing on the screen in this case. So overall, I think this probably will work well for video conferencing, for work or school or whatever. This doesn't look much different than an external webcam that I use on my Mac. So this actually looks pretty good. Now, I don't know what the sound sounds like yet. I will hear that when I play it back as part of the video editing. But overall, it looks like it has a pretty decent quality for this kind of mid-range laptop.
So this is the Amazon listing. As you can see, I don't know why they do this. The list price says it's $9.99. There's a coupon that automatically applies for $250 off. And if you do use the link in the description of this video, you can get an additional, I believe, 25% off, bringing the total down to around $500. And for around $500, I think this is a pretty good value. Like I said earlier on in the video, the Intel Core chip, the 32 gigs of RAM, terabyte of space, the screen, all that stuff. You get a lot of inputs and quite a bit of performance, again, for like this mid-range laptop. And I think it's overall a compelling value. So I will link to this in the description, like I said, with the promotion codes. You can save 25%, I believe, through the end of this year. I don't know what the price is going to look like after the end of 2023. So you might have to check, depending on when you're watching this video, what the price is at that time. But yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and post those below. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you are not a subscriber, I would appreciate you consider subscribing. I have a ton of people that watch this videos and watch my channel that are not subscribed. So that would be super helpful if you would do that. This is Andrew from TS for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.